I don't know about you, but in my experience of working with Year 6s, one of the most challenging parts of the SATs is the amount of technical concepts that come up in the exams. This can be daunting for a lot of students. That's why, in this video, we'll guide you through the most important elements of the SPaG papers and how to help your child succeed in this part of the English SATs. The English exams not only test the child's ability to read and comprehend and write, but also assess their grasp of the nuts and bolts of the language. Like the Maths SATs papers, the English SATs are also divided into 3 separate papers, which assess different aspects of the English curriculum. The first 2 papers deal with spelling, punctuation and grammar, or SPaG for short, and they account for 70 marks altogether out of a total of 120. This makes these technical elements the most important for determining your child's final score. Paper 3 deals with reading skills, which we'll look at in the next video in this SAT series. In this video, I'll walk you through the elements of the exam, the challenges that need to be overcome, resources that will help your child, and key tips to engage your child at home. SPaG Paper 1 is 45 minutes and is worth 50 of the 70 marks. Here, the examiners want to see not just what your child knows about the language, but also how they use that knowledge in different situations. Many of the questions within this test ask students to employ their knowledge to demonstrate grammatical rules, correct usage of punctuation and spelling. SPaG Paper 2 is around 15 minutes and is worth 20 of those 70 marks. This paper is basically a spelling test where the teacher reads out 20 words for the student to write down. They also read out sentences to go along with each word to provide some context, which helps with homophones, words that sound the same but are spelt differently, such as complement and complement or source and source. Schools should cover the required words for this paper, but of course there's no harm in practicing them at home. Well, I think the best way to understand the types of questions that come up in paper 1 is go through some example questions. So let's do that now. Rewrite this sentence in the past progressive tense. The dog chases the cat down the alley. The main present tense verb in the sentence is chases, so we would need to add the correct form of the verb to be and the present participle form of the word chase. The sentence would therefore be rewritten as the dog was chasing the cat down the alley. Here's another example question. Which verb is a synonym of the verb create, display, sell, manufacture, dismantle? Well, in this case, the answer is manufacture, as the question is looking for a synonym or a word with the same meaning. So I'm not going to bore you by reading out the list of the different skills required in paper 1, but here's a table. You can pause the video here and check them out yourself. Next, let's look at resources. An underrated book which is perfect for this particular paper is a book called The Illustrated First Aid in English. This book was first published in 1938, so at the dawn of the Second World War, and is an excellent resource. I remember using the First Aid in English as a child. The exercises in it helped me with my vocabulary and grammar. Haydn Richards Junior English is another must. This series deals with many skills required in comprehension, spelling, punctuation and grammar. These books are very approachable, and I've seen firsthand how working through these books can improve a child's grasp of English. They vary greatly in terms of their difficulty, so be sure to pick up the right book for your child. Again, just like we recommended in the Maths Guide, the Schofield and Sims books are fantastic. For these papers, we recommend the English Skill Series and the Spelling Series. And again, we would recommend getting the teacher's guides first so that you can assess your child and decide which books are suitable. Links to these books are in the description. We've included books to master basic skills, books to practice exam-style questions, and additional test practice papers in the description too. Now we've looked at some resources, here are some exercises you can do with your child to help them build their grammatical awareness. First is to label parts of speech. A simple exercise that I often do with students to build their grammatical awareness is to write out a sentence from a fiction or non-fiction text, and then ask the student to break down the sentence into different parts of speech. If we look at this example, a room without books is like a body without a soul. We've basically made this as pretty as possible. So we've got determiners, prepositions, nouns and verbs shown in different colours. What you can do, you could get your child to underline some of these different aspects as well in different colours, or they could write them out in different colours. Make it as visual as possible. And this just trains them to understand that the function of the word depends on the sentence. This method of engaging a student helps with grammatical awareness, as it allows the student to see how words can change their function within a sentence. For instance, if I were to examine the word like in the following sentence, it no longer functions as a preposition and will be a verb. Cows like to eat grass every day. So you can see like has now turned into a verb. It's no longer a preposition. Similarly, if I were to analyse the word soul in the following sentence, it no longer functions as a noun and becomes an adjective. The man on the street corner loves soul music. So you can see here, soul is being used as an adjective because it's describing or modifying music, the noun. So as you can see, the way that words change in function is always a complex part of SPaG and English generally. Children generally enjoy fixed structures and simple answers, but there is considerable technicality involved, as you cannot label a word a verb, noun, adjective, etc. You need to think about how the word functions within the sentence. Next, you can create fun and visual posters. As you've probably realised, grammar topics can get very technical, so getting children to illustrate grammatical concepts can really help them understand ideas in depth. For instance, you can create a poster dedicated to different tenses, display examples of past, present and future tenses in various contexts, using vibrant colours and playful illustrations. By highlighting each tense in its colour or section, you turn abstract rules into lively, memorable experiences. This hands-on approach not only reinforces understanding through visual learning, but also sparks creativity and excitement about grammar. The final way is correcting passages. This activity is less fun than the last two, but it tests your child's understanding of grammar, punctuation and spelling in depth. It entails taking a short extract from a book, article, etc., and then filling it with errors for your child to correct and rewrite. The advantage of this method is that you can tailor this to the level of your child. Now, to make things easier, we've created a worksheet with this exercise for you to download. It's linked in the description along with the other resources. The SATS Maths Papers Guide includes some good advice for test practice generally, so click here to watch that. The final part will appear here once it's released. Should we do a SPaG paper challenge like we did for maths?
You're not going to claim you can do this in 5 minutes as well, are you?
Yeah, probably.
I don't believe you.
Okay, well, if you want to see us potentially flop again, comment SPaG below. Go ahead, we clearly have no shame.
What do you mean we?